who, in your mind, who's the starting other guard?
First of all, did you say Oubre Jr.? Come on, bro. It's Oubre Jr. Man, get it together. First of all, you got to get the names right.
Okay.
You get your names right for all these stats
Well,
you do?
first
You
of
can't
all,
get the names right?
You know, Anthony wants the big. Everyone's got the big three. Anthony wants like the big 10.
Five would do. Just give me a starting five.
What do you think? Like,
Okay. All right. Stop the shenanigans.
all of a sudden.
Welcome, everyone, to a special edition of the Matter of Stats podcast. Joining us today is a very special guest. He recently served as an executive producer and a writer on the hit HBO series Winning Time, The Rise of the Lakers Dynasty. And we are very excited to welcome him to the show. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Rodney Barnes. Rodney, sir, how are you?
What's going on? I'm hanging in there. How you guys doing?
Great.
Good.
And
good.
thank you for joining. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I appreciated you as well.
So we want to jump right in while we have you here. We're excited, as we mentioned. So, Rodney, you've worked on some great shows such as My Wife and Kids, Boondocks, Everybody Hates Chris, countless others. How did you get involved with Winning Time, and what was that process like?
Max Bornstein brought me on. We worked together before for quite some time, and he asked me to come on, and I grew up in this era of watching basketball. This is everybody, I think, has a period of time when if they fall in love with the game, when they fell in love with the game, and this was sort of my period because I was playing in high school. I sort of was beginning to understand the game, and so I could appreciate the pro game more than just somebody who went and watched basketball. And so it sort of fit. It fit really well.
Yeah, that's awesome. You talk about that period of time. That's when I fell in love with the Lakers. I was about 12 years old. My dad made me watch the Lakers, made me watch Magic, and at that time, I remember recording all the games on VHS, and I would go back and watch them over and over again.
Wow.
And that's where my, the spark started the flame for me too. So
Yeah. I wasn't really a Lakers fan. I was a 76ers fan, which made me not a Lakers fan because the Lakers would always beat the 76ers except one time, that 82-83 season. But I was a Dr. J fan. So by proxy, it's like watching a superhero movie. You get to know the other side because they're fighting your favorites. So and it seemed like whether they were playing the Celtics or the Sixers, damn near for a decade, it was always the Lakers. So they were like a household name. And then every weekend, it always seems like it was the national game was a Laker game, regardless of who they were playing. So you were forced to kind of watch the Lakers.
Yeah.
Real quick, am I frozen?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll continue on, and maybe we unfreeze or something. Okay. Rodney. So like we had mentioned, we covered Winning Time every week on our podcast as well, and it was just so much fun on a weekly basis, just touching base on each episode and some of the things we liked. It was funny because I remember way back in the first episode, I remember Anthony saying like, man, he's like, I thought there was something wrong with my TV. Like I had to go up and like smack my TV. I thought there was an issue with like, it was like had a grainy look to it or something. And I was like, no. That was intentional. It had that 70s, 80s feel, and I thought it was like the updated technology and the tools you guys were kind of able to do that. But I was surprised to learn via your guys' podcast that you guys actually used cameras from the 70s to actually to shoot that, so and I know you're director of photography. I did a little bit of photography and video back in my day, so that was definitely something that I appreciated. But was that something that you guys talked about or thought about, like, hey, like do we want to do this as a kind of a modern look, or do we really want to keep that authentic feel of the 80s and all that? How did that process go?
Well, Todd Van Hazel was huge. He's our director of photography, and a lot of what you see visually was sort of laid out and designed by him. And it was funny when you said you want to go up and hit your TV, because in the 70s you had to hit your TV in order to get it to come in clear. So I guess we were doing a good thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I give it up mostly to Todd. I mean, I think he was sort of the architect behind all of that, the visual stuff, and all the different cameras and how things came in and out. And I think he did a fantastic job.
Yeah, no, for sure. I agree. And I loved seeing that that aspect of it for sure. One of the other things that, about Winning Time that we enjoyed were the characters, of course, right? How difficult of a process was it to cast for, and how did you know that you had the right people for each role?
Well, I mean, I think, you have two sides of the cast. You sort of have the veterans and you have the newer folk that are coming in. And Francine Maisler, our casting director, again, she did a great job in bringing a lot of those people to the table. I think the players were a little bit harder. You get really, really lucky to get Quincy Isaiah for Magic, and then you strike, gold again with Solomon Hughes, who played Kareem. And then again, Devon Nixon, who played his father, and Delonte D'Souza played our Michael Cooper. I think all of those guys came in, and all the other players that Austin, and just everybody who came in and did a great job as far as the new guys, the younger guys who weren't sort of established in the same way as a John C. Reilly or Adrian Brody or Sally Field or any of those people who have been in the game for a long time. It was just a great mixture of folks, and everybody came to the table ready to play. But Francine Maisler, our casting director, gets big shout outs and kudos for her fine work.
Yeah, you're right. The cast was really awesome because, like you mentioned, you had a great mixture of some big time actors and actresses, and then some fresh new faces that that we hadn't seen before, maybe in a lot of mainstream stuff. But my personal favorite character, of course, was Jerry West, and Jason Clarke was fantastic.
Yeah,
fantastic. And I just got to ask you, how did you guys not lose it every single time he was filming a scene? Because it was so good and hilarious to watch him portray Jerry West. That how did you guys not lose it on every take?
Well, it actually started when he would get, like, when we were on location, they would take a van to set, and he would start like getting himself up to be Jerry West before he actually got on set and would do his lines. So you would hear him, fuck, shit, fuck, and he would start being that guy. So he was already in character before anybody said action. He was already there in character. So no, Jason was great, and always ready, always with the energy to be that guy. And he, I think, for the fans, I know there's a duality to it. Some people wonder if that, really was how Jerry West was. And then they sort of fell in love with, our version of Jerry West. And, but I think Jason certainly nailed it and did an incredible job.
And one of my favorite parts too that were on the Jerry West thing was also from episode 1 was the part where, and I know you're a comic book guy and everything, and I wonder if you had a hand in that, but when the card, like his little basketball card, comes alive and he's like, hey, you guys think I would fucking be happy about that or whatever, I like lost it. I was cracking up like that for that whole scene. So did you have something to do with that?
I wish that I could take credit for that. That was Jim Hecht. I think that was his relationship with an animation studio, and
gotcha.
He was the one that put it together. But a lot of times in things like that, it sort of was a team effort, and finding a joke here, a piece there. But it always went back and forth with who came up with what.
Yeah. Did you personally have a favorite character throughout the whole series that you?
Not really. I mean, it was always the moment. I really liked Rob Morgan, who played Magic's dad. I thought he did a great job. Of course, Quincy as Magic did a great job. And in season 2, we put a lot on his shoulders, in regards to carrying a lot of the basketball story. And I thought Sean Smalls, who played Larry Bird, did a great job. And it's like every episode you would find a character who would shine, So it was great just watching every week, Hadley, Robinson who played Jeannie Buss. It's like every week somebody would sort of, take the baton and run with it. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, well, that definitely showed, from episode to episode, because you could see not just the growth of the characters, but you could see, those moments where they had really great scenes or really great lines, and the iconic like "fuck Boston" and so many, just great moments that any Laker fan could get behind.
Big time. Big time.
And obviously, two seasons of it with HBO. I think we can speak as big fans of the show that we were obviously, rooting for a longer tenure with HBO. Is there anything you could tell us about the possibility of Winning Time maybe being picked up by another network?
I don't know. I mean, I've heard whispers of things, but nothing that's concrete that I'm aware of. I know. In today's world, you never say never, because you see like Frasier's coming back, and like shows from 20 years ago are coming back, and they move to different places. So, like I said, you hear whispers of things, but I'm not aware of anything that's concrete that's gonna happen or imminently happening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it would definitely be nice to get more of those years in.
You don't want to leave on Magic in the shower, that's not the way a hero you end. Usually Batman wins,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't ride off into the sunset losing Game 7 in the Garden.
No, come on, can't do that. Somebody's got to do it.
Somebody's got to fix this. Come on.
Yeah, I agree. Somebody does. Somebody's got to come in and fix this thing.
Yeah, and that's obviously a lot of the feedback that we've probably all seen on social media, that like, what, like, how can we end with Boston winning and all that. But I have I actually have the 3-Ring Circus book by Jeff Pearlman too, and I'm a little bit younger, so like I caught the tail end of Magic and Byron Scott, and I was going into the Nick Van Exel, Eldon Campbell days, and so and I'm a huge Kobe fan, so I would love to see that part of the story too. So I'm praying, I'm hoping to see all that as well. So
I would too, and a lot of the characters from this era cross streams. Jerry West is a big part of how Kobe and Shaq got there. You got Dr. Buss, Jeannie's still there. Magic comes back and tries to coach and play, and Kareem's kind of hanging around because I think he wanted to coach at one point. And so you got a lot of the cast that was in one side that comes over to the other side. You got new stuff. You got Phil Jackson, and a lot of opportunities for some really exciting stuff there too. So it'd be great one day. Who knows? It'd be great to see.
Yeah. Now, we're obviously diehard Laker fans. And I know that you did mention, of course, that you did grow up a Sixers fan, but you also grew up, in that time, that Laker era of basketball. So do you have a favorite Laker moment, or maybe like a favorite, Laker player that, you grew up really liking or idolizing?
Yeah, I mean, it was odd because I never really hated the Lakers, but they were sort of in that era like the Yankees because they always won, seemingly.
Right.
And that was the thing. It's like, damn, give somebody else a chance. I was a big Kareem fan because he almost seemed like the perfect player, and the skyhook was incredible. And then I remember when Magic played Bird in college, when Indiana State and Michigan State played against each other. Yeah. And so that sort of was like, a primer for what it was, a story. It's like you've got them in college, and is Bird going to get revenge and that thing. So it caught my interest. But to answer your question, I think I would say probably Magic. Magic played so his style of play, his charisma. He was a star in every sense of the word. So I would say during that period of time, if I had to go with a Laker, it was somebody not over Dr. J, but somebody adjacent to Dr. J. Because Dr. J I was damn near like a serial killer with Dr. J, because my whole wall was posters of Dr. J. I would try to play like Dr. J and couldn't jump. That makes it hard to play like Dr. J when you can't jump.
Yeah.
But I would go to the Sixers games at the Spectrum, and I'm from Maryland, so the Capitol Center. So, yeah, to answer your question, Magic, but can't take anybody over the Doctor.
Yeah, that's fair. And hey, there's nothing wrong with saying Dr. J. There's
come on, man.
There's nothing wrong with that. Dr. J is an all-timer, so you can't go wrong
Top
there.
50.
Oh yeah.
There you go.
I mean, you don't get a cool nickname like that for nothing.
Come on, it's still cool too.
It's still cool. Exactly.
Still cool. Yeah.
Before we let you go,
Yeah.
I did want to, let you, talk a little bit about what you got coming up, maybe some of the projects that you're working on, and let people know where, they can find you and all that good stuff. Before you do, though, I thought it was interesting because you're definitely going to have to give Rodney Barnes a follow on IG for sure. He's like the most interesting man on IG because you're like, I see like one day I see like you're hanging out with Mick Foley. The next day you're spitting bars with Exhibit. I'm like, man, this guy's really doing it all. He's all over, So I love it.
He told you he was tired.
There you go. I'm too old to be doing all this stuff. I can't take red eyes anymore. It is when you're in the business for a while and you make some friends. The cool part is people that you really admire when you get to hang out with them and develop some semblance of a relationship with them. It's kind of cool, especially when the person is as big as the persona that they play and whatever it is that they do. So, it is cool to, at times, be me. Every once in a while. I'd say probably 7 hours out of a week, I have really cool 7 hours. The other time is horrible. It's the worst time ever. But those 7 hours, the ones that make it onto Instagram, those are the best hours of the week. So,
That's 6 better hours than us.
Oh, no. You guys are living large. You're just trying to make me feel good. You're just being kind to your guests. That's all.
Yeah, if you want to just quickly touch on maybe what you got coming up.
For sure. I'm developing a Jack Johnson miniseries at HBO, starring Mahershala Ali. And I've got a couple of other shows there in development, and I've got a horror podcast that I'm doing with Amazon and Mr. Ballin and Campsite Media. A whole bunch of comic books, too many comic books, a couple of films, and a bunch of other things. I wish I could remember them all, but I try not to. I probably have anxiety and start crying if I remember them all because I don't have enough hours in the day to actually live. But it's a good time, and I'm very, very grateful because I've had times where I came to LA and I lived in my car, and it's feast or famine. That's sort of how the business works. So I'm fortunate that right now it seems like I'm eating. But so yeah.
Can I ask you really quick, Roddy? You got a favorite comic book or favorite comic book hero?
Swamp Thing is my favorite comic book character, I think, of all time. I love horror comics. So as a kid, I grew up with Bernie Wrightson's version of Swamp Thing, and then later Alan Moore. Bissett and Totalbin's version of the character, and Scott Snyder and a bunch of other really cool people, and big Swamp Thing fan. Hope one day I get to write an issue of something that's got Swamp Thing in it.
Yeah, cool. That's cool.
And when did you know that being a full-time WWE wrestler was just not going to go down?
Well, when I tried to be a wrestler, when I trained at the WCW power plant in Atlanta, and they beat me without mercy. I don't think I've ever taken a beating that badly in my entire life. And as I was laying on a mat at one point, I said, there's got to be a better way to live. There's no way. And it's funny because when I see the older wrestlers right now and I see the toll that is taken on them, I think I got out at the right time. I wouldn't have been very good. I would have been a jobber at best. I would have been the preliminary guy that gets beaten up. I would have been that guy. I would not have been The Rock. So, yeah.
That sounds very similar to when I realized I wasn't going to play in the NBA when people were dunking all over me and I couldn't jump off the ground.
Yeah.
Very similar.
self-awareness is a really important trait. So when it clicks in, I think that's the voice of God saying, son, it's time to do something else. And
Yes.
I've had a lot of those moments in my life where, I've been just tapped on the shoulder. It's like, it's time to move on. It's time to do something else. So that was one of those times.
Yeah, we appreciate that. We're definitely WWE fans here. We're boxing fans here. We're sports podcasts.
Me too. You got me for both. I mean, I'm a huge boxing fan. I'm a huge went to WrestleMania this year, and
oh, nice.
Through my son, Cody Rhodes, and still not as much as the Attitude Era. I think that's when I sort of hit its peak. Earlier with Mid-South and a couple different runs with WWF/E, with the Hogan and WrestleMania stuff, and then later with Austin and Rock. But now it's like I still DVR it, but unless I see on Bleacher Report or something big happen, I'm not always watching in the same way.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you couldn't miss Monday Night Raw or Monday Night Wars back in the day. Like, you had to watch that on spot.
You had to. That was the best 3 hours on television.
Yeah, for sure. And then now we got the DVR. We might watch it on Wednesday or something. But
same
but
thing.
it's definitely
as well. But
Oh yeah, I'm watching tons of boxing. I'm getting pretty much all the pay-per-views. I think Canelo's the best. Up until last year when he was beat, I thought he was pound for pound the best. In my opinion. But
I look at Canelo now and I say, I think he's really good. I do think he's still a top 5 fighter, maybe a top 3 fighter in the world. But I see him sometimes, even though Charlo didn't look great against him in this last one. I think the Canelo of 7 years ago would have taken him out. I went to all the Triple G fights with Canelo and also Cotto. So I've seen him live, and with Mayweather. I saw those. So a big Canelo fan, but I wish after Bivol, after that fight, it seems like there's something different. So
okay, well, and just to finish that up, let's get your hot take. If Crawford moves up, he moves up to fight Canelo, who's winning that? Because Crawford made Spence. Man, that was a crazy. I did not see that coming.
But I didn't see it coming either, and I actually had Spence. So I'm saying it publicly that I had Spence. I think just because styles make fights, and just because he was able to do that to Spence doesn't mean he'd be able to do that to Canelo. Canelo's a different kind of fighter with multiple styles and can adapt. I've seen him adapt at different times when he fought Danny Jacobs, and other times I've seen him just be able to adjust. So I wouldn't automatically give Terrence Crawford like the win just because he beat Spence the way that he beat Spence. That said, I do think his style, when I think about Canelo, when Canelo fought Lara and Austin Trout and Mayweather, they had a style that I think was difficult and will always be difficult for Canelo. Guys with great feet, I think, are difficult for Canelo to be able to. The Bivol thing, I didn't know enough about Bivol, but I know it's a long-winded answer. But I think it would be a competitive fight, but I don't know who would win.
Yeah. Interesting. I still am sticking with the, it's hard to jump up a couple weight classes. We saw it with Charlo. We saw it with Canelo trying to do it with people. Yeah, that's true.
Pacquiao used to do it on a regular. I mean, Pacquiao was probably 14 pounds when he started fighting, and he went up to damn near super middle, when he fought what's his name, that Margarito. So he went all the way from like flyweight all the way up there. So it can be done. And I think it's more of a style thing than anything else.
Yeah. Good stuff, man. Love it. Where can the fans find you online?
At the Rodney Barnes on Instagram and Twitter, primarily. Facebook is for like old people. Whenever me and my high school friends, I'm on Facebook, my brother, and we argue about football, but you wouldn't find anything really interesting that I'm saying over there. So Instagram and Twitter at the Rodney Barnes would be the best place to find me if you're looking for me.
Very cool. Well, hey, Rodney, we appreciate your time. Thank you so much for coming on, joining us to talk sports. I love that we got to talk a little bit of everything in there, so we'll definitely, catch you on the IG. We'll tag you on some stuff. And yeah, again, we really appreciate it. So.
And likewise, I appreciate you guys supporting. I've seen some of the things that you've said, the kind words for Winning Time. So on behalf of everyone at Winning Time, thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
No, like I said, we're big fans of the show, and we loved it, and we want more of it. So we're like you, hoping somebody picks it up.
Yep. Never say never. There you go.
Nope. Not in today's media world. Too many options.
Not at all. Yes, there's always someone willing to take a chance on something, so you never know.
Yep.
Thank you much, Rodney. Have a good night.
You're welcome. You guys take it easy.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Yep. Likewise. Bye-bye.